Thank you for joining us today. My name is Paris Amy, and I will be the moderator of our session on AI with our three wonderful panelists. I am, as I said, based in Germany. I am a customer engineering leader for Accelera by Cummins, working with fuel cells currently. So what we're going to talk to our three panelists today about is what does the future look like for those that are creating it? How do we see AI and other emerging technologies impacting the future of our STEM careers? How do we see that throughout the different, say, entry level university, both university as a student and as a professor, and then also kind of in the corporate world? Do our views align between these kind of different areas and different parts of our careers? And what does that mean for our future? So as I mentioned, we have three wonderful panelists. We have Charley Cooke, who is a biomedical engineering student at Munster Technological University. We have Tutku Kiliçaslan, who is a junior data scientist at Umicore. And then we have Dr. Anabel Fraga, who is an associate tenured professor at the University of Carlos III in Madrid. So thank you all for joining us today. So we also have links that will be popping up in the chat throughout our session today. Feel free to learn more about us by clicking on those links. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Our wonderful background helpers will be making sure that we get those questions. And after the panel session, we're going to have a live Q&A to address those questions or remarks, and then we'll move to breakout rooms so that you'll be able to exchange ideas with one another. Okay, so I'd like to start us off by getting a sense of your current usage of recent innovations, so particularly AI tools. And I know we had a really good chat kind of figuring out, what does it look like for all of us? So Charley, can you start us off? How are you integrating AI tools into your studies?
I think that AI tools are really beneficial in studies these days. I think they're shaping the way we learn in university. And from an undergraduate perspective, when you're walking through a university campus, you would find it very hard to not see at least one person using AI tools to shape the way that they learn. But I think that there's kind of very different ways that you can use these AI tools. So currently, you can use them, or what I find I use them for is with technical concepts within my engineering degree. Sometimes you find yourself just learning off these concepts and not actually gaining a full understanding. Whereas you can use these AI tools to help you better understand these technical concepts. And that way, then you come out of these modules or these courses with a deeper understanding of these concepts. So I think it's really kind of aiding us in our understanding and our learning. And it's also shaping the way that we innovate as engineers. So a lot of projects these days that I'm doing in college or in university, AI is being integrated into a majority of these projects, and it's shaping the way that we do these projects as well from an undergraduate level. So I think that it's really kind of fueling innovation at an undergraduate level from my point of view as well.
Okay, so a little bit like a on-demand textbook that you can search exactly what you want to get kind of input and feedback into then how you apply it for your studies. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So then, Tutku, so you're kind of in the beginnings of your career. So you have left university not so long ago. So how have you seen this innovation with AI, or how do you understand the usage of the tools with AI in your career?
Indeed, I switched from university to my professional work quite recently, 2 years ago. When I was a student, I was using it similar to Charley. But nowadays, I'm using to actually bridge the gap between my technical understanding and also implementation. Because as a data scientist who has a data science background, we are not expect to know the code implementation by heart, but we are really expected to know how the technical concepts. But knowing technical concepts are not enough to implement those AI applications, for example. But now, thanks to ChatGPT, I can first brainstorm about my ideas. I know this technique, but can I use it in this domain or in this problem? And give me some use cases, for example, it's already done, etc. Through that, I'm able to first validate my brainstorming, and like I have another companion basically validate my ideas, then implement it with codes that requires for it, because there are many techniques and many packages popping up in the fields, so it's always not hard to it's not always easy to keep up with the pace. So
Okay, so that kind of that next step from not just supporting the information that goes into it, but then utilizing it to do the processing and kind of the next step. So,
yep.
Okay, so Anabel, again, I know both Tutku and Charley have talked about using AI tools in their university studies. So it's a hot topic in academic circles for sure, right? How do we use it? So can you give a quick overview about how you approach the AI tools at university?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Paris, for the question. In the university, at least my university, what we are facing of is that the previous academic year, it was not so high, the use of the AI technology by students, I mean. So professors didn't notice a lot the use of it during the assignments or the exams, even the exams. So this academic year, we improved the system. We apply like disclaimers for each of the courses, for each subject. We have disclaimers saying we have 3 modalities. You can use it. You can use it based on the instructor indications, or you cannot use it at all. So depending on this, students are allowed not to use this AI technology during the classes. We are facing a lot of cases of students trying to use this new technology without knowing that behind it must be trained. You have to include prompts, you have to adapt the technology to be used properly and to have the right output and to analyze the output as well. Sometimes the output is not what you need.
So are you offering classes so that people start to learn that side of it?
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're right, because it's every tool is a tool, right? And we have to understand what the limitations are of that tool to then kind of apply it to what we need. So, okay. Well, so I'm just gonna kind of move on, Anabel, to the next side of things, but I'm gonna keep you on this question. So we've talked a little bit too about this kind of pace of adoption, right? So there's different aspects where it can be applied, different ways of using it. So because there are a lot of tools, there isn't just one, right? So when there are a lot of competing perspectives and priorities, we're all on different levels and places in our career. You have competing technologies. So I want to use, I don't know, Excel to do something, right? And you want to use AI tools. So how do we how do we move fast in one direction but kind of hold off in another direction? So do you have a thought process on that pace of adoption, Anabel, and where we should go really fast or where we might slow down?
Yeah, we have to you commented that quite good, Paris, because before using a technology, a new technology, a new tool, we have to understand what's doing and the result it's given and where is taking that information, where is from that information. Sometimes it's from documents or internet or some place not regulated or not validated. So it may have information that is not true, not valid, or even information given to another one might be the same given to another person, the same kind of information given a different prompt to be prepared. So on one side, we need to learn, we need to adapt, but on the other side, we need to think. How are we going to use? How are we going to use it? In academia, we are thinking how to help students to use it, but tell them the risk of using, for instance, in an exam. You cannot use it during an exam. Even the exam, we have online exams during the class, in-person classes, but they have to know they cannot use it. And we already have cases of students with open issues that because they try to use Copilot or ChatGPT to answer questions of an exam during an exam. So we have to. It's a trade-off. You have to understand that is good technology. You have to move forward. You have to adapt. You have to understand. But on the other side, try to think carefully when you can apply it, for what, and where the information is coming from, if it's really for you or not. So training is important in that case.
Yeah, and I think so. You've talked about as a university professor, right? The kind of the students really want to use it. And so Charley, I'll get to you in just a second, but first I want to go to Tutku. So in your organization, right? So where do you see the AI tools being adopted either really quickly, or do you see in your organization they're not being adopted fast enough?
As an employee, I think we are adapting really well because we have Copilot that we can use, for example, available to every employee with different features, but at least everyone has an access. So it directs you to a safer environment rather than just just a general one. So it's already a good adoption, I would say, because new generation like us, they all got a taste of ChatGPT kind of tools, and I don't think they will ever give up on those advantages that they are taking. So I think companies needs to adapt to this, because if they don't allow using those, they will use it in another way, or they will be less productive, and you will ask them to be productive as much as the other colleague is using, or another colleague in another company who has access to these tools. So I'm quite satisfied with it as an employee, but as a data scientist, yes, there is another topic if it's good or not, the adaptation, because people still show resistance. But yeah, overall, as an employee, I think it's important for me to have have access to these tools.
So we again, so I'm about 12 years into my career. So let's say 10-year jump on you, right? And I go through my day-to-day, and it does not occur to me at all to use the AI tools. We have the same thing, right? We have an access for a specific one I can use at Cummins. And so you're absolutely right. It's available to me, but unless I specifically focus on training myself and using it, it just sits there. So Charley, maybe this is kind of based for both of you, Tutku and Charley. So Charley, you said that you use AI to kind of help support the projects and learn more. So what do you think about when you get a job, right? How do you think that you're going to kind of drive the pace of adoption of the tools, or have you thought about that?
I think it's very different to the way in which it will be used in university. Like at the moment, I think that students want to use these AI tools and that they use them. But I think in my own university, we're very aware of the consequences of using them not in the right way. And plagiarism is a big thing in university, that you can't use it to write material that you're submitting. Now, I'm fortunate insofar as we don't really have online exams, so it's never been a circumstance that we've been using like AI tools for online exams, but I think it's definitely the case for assignments. And I think that transfers over to the kind of the work life after college, insofar as like we're very aware and it's built into us not to use it to generate work in an undergraduate level. So I think that will stay with me into my career, that I won't use it to generate work that I'm supposed to be doing with a company, but I will use it to shape the way that I do the work and maybe give me inspiration in certain ways and how to do certain things that I might not have considered. or I might use it, as Tutku said, to explore ideas and see if it would be viable ideas to integrate. But I think that from my understanding of AI tools in the undergraduate level, I know that there's consequence for using them not in the right way. So I think that that would bring me over to my career as well.
No, it's I studied mechanical engineering, and for all the places I've lived, I've brought my textbooks with me, right? And so I still look things up in the textbooks, but you're absolutely right. Once you get into the, I say corporate world, so to speak, nobody is quizzing me on, do you remember the thermal stress of this material, right? It's so again, where do I go? Is it to an AI tool, or is it to a textbook to kind of help me with that knowledge? And then how do I derive what I might do next based off of the tools that I have? So Charley, you perfectly segued us into the next topic, where we want to kind of discuss, values and ethics. And I think all three of you already mentioned a little bit about this, either at university or even applying it to a job. So, so is there a correct way to implement it? Is there an incorrect way to implement it? Does it stifle creativity? Does it encourage creativity? Right? When I think about engineering is about, in the way that I think about it, is about solving problems. So does it matter how I get to solve that problem? Right? So maybe Charley, just staying with you, what do you so you said at your university they do have a good background in what's the limitations of the tool and the maybe the ethics around it. Can you just give us a little bit more information on why you think that?
So I think that a lot of our assignments are put through plagiarism detecting softwares, which is, I suppose, in itself an AI tool. So I think that kind of we're very aware of AI writing material for us insofar as projects and reports and things like that. So I think that there's a moral thing there, but it's up to the student, I think, whether they use AI in the correct way to kind of maybe they might use an AI tool to create a general plan for a report and create inspiration on a flow. But then there's also people out there that will use it to write the entire report for them. And I think it's up to the student themselves on which way they want to go and what way they want to do a particular coursework or assignment. And I think that it's a kind of ethics responsibility as an engineer also. You're kind of starting your career learning in college. And if you're going to start your career off using these AI tools to do the work for you, then I think that's going to be a little bit of a breach of ethics, or not even a breach of ethics, but insofar as you're not doing it right, you're not doing it using the tools that you've learned in college. So I think that there should be a responsibility from the start in college. And I think it is really good that universities are implementing tools to detect this early on so that it doesn't filter on down through your career. And I think that because ethics is such a big thing in engineering, using it to solve problems, I think using your own tools that you've learned and using AI to shape how you learn and not learn for you is very important in that regard.
I totally agree. I think you've said that very, very well. Because so it's very, as the, even when I was in high school, so 2006 timeframe, we also had a tool that we had to upload our papers to, and it checked, again, these were with Word documents, and it checked the internet, right, for things. So a little bit similar thing. I think that the tools now are probably a lot more advanced than they were in 2006. So Anabel, you already had mentioned that on certain assignments, you'll have a kind of 3 levels of the ability for the students to use AI. How does your university check? And if they do check, how do you implement consequences, if any? What's that conversation like?
Yes, we use a tool. Well, from the beginning, we use tools to check all the works that the students submit for each class. And in this case, previously to this boom of the AI technology and generative AI, So we check only, as you commented, as like papers, when you publish something, that you have to check if it's already published by somebody, it's already written, it's available, who did it, and we have like a threshold of a percentage who is admissible or not to be accepted as a valid submission for the assignment. But now we are using the same tool with new capabilities, because now it checks also the AI use. So if
Okay.
it's a AI generative use, it detects and tell you, oh, there is something wrong here. Percentage of use of AI is something percent. Then we check with the student if the knowledge is really the knowledge the student shall be getting, or is just, as Charlie commented, is an ethical values issue, I think. That we should work on what we are going to do, not just let AI to do it. Then who is
So,
doing
I
the
mean,
degree?
it hasn't changed much, to be honest, right? The
No,
process, right?
no.
It's just the tool. Charlie, you're very smartly pointing out it's an AI tool, even to do the AI tool. It
Yeah,
just
I
had to
know.
get more advanced, right?
Yeah.
So the again, we've already kind of covered, right? So how do we use it? What's kind of the ethical side of it? Knowing the limitations of the tool, I think, also feeds into the ethical side of it, right? It can only take the data that it knows and build off of that, right? So there's kind of this teaching process. So another thing that we talked about, and Tutku, I'm going to come to you, especially as a data scientist, right? There's the other aspect that I think a lot of people forget about, is how much energy it takes to run these AI tools. Would you like to say a little bit more about how that kind of thought has come to you?
I think you brought the hardest question to me.
It's okay, we can talk about it.
As to be honest, in my personal life, I'm vegetarian for 5 years for this reason. I'm really concerned about carbon dioxide emission, and I think this is a dilemma that I had every day with myself. Like all the AI tools I'm using is causing lots of emission. Honestly, I don't have like one like answer to this question. But what I think is, um, around like greenhouse emissions, now companies are publishing SDG reports, and I think these AI tools and like how much carbon dioxide is emit from these tools should be also included on those as a second level or third level carbon dioxide emission. I think it's really important, because then it will bring up the discussions to the table, because now when we are applying those tools, it's never on discussion. And because there is no also a certain metric that you can look up or a way to avoid this. And it is evolving. As it evolves, you should also make more trials and fails, and it also costs lots of carbon dioxide emission. So this is the thing, but we should bring those discussions to the table. It's my first point, like first suggestion, let's say.
Yep. I mean, that's what we're doing right now, right? Is we're kind of talking about it. And you made an interesting comment about we don't maybe necessarily have the tool to measure it. And so I think maybe you and Charlie are not too young to remember, but when hybrid electric vehicles started coming out, there was, again, how do we measure compared to miles per gallon or kilometers per gallon output or CO2 output of traditional gasoline cars? How do we create another method that shows comparable what the hybrid vehicle has compared to the gas engine? And so this took some time, right? And even there's always going to be discussion about how you calculate it. And again, we're scientists, so we're always going to find some decimal point to argue about, which makes it interesting and fun. But I mean, it's a really good point. So just out of curiosity, Anabel, is this a topic that you discuss or that's in any of the classes at the university? kind of the
Well,
energy
yeah,
side?
not at the classes, Paris, but
Mhm.
on research area. We are doing a lot
Okay.
of research on metrics, and
Mhm.
because the IPCC report that was released last year also didn't commented a lot of the AI effect. So I hope the next release of the report include that as well, because
Mhm.
we already have like a sequence of what will happen in 20 years. So the idea, I think, is to measure what's happening. So we are working on that on research projects, and also we are working on new possibilities to reduce the emission using efficient algorithms, efficient computer systems, efficient ways to allow not computers, but also the CPDs, the location where
Mhm.
big computers are located,
Yeah.
to be
Mhm.
refrigerated in an efficient way, so the emission is
Mhm.
lower as well. So we are working on that kind of research, and the European Union is funding a lot of projects on this advance.
Okay. No, that's again just curious, right? That's also and that's kind of how it starts, right? So Tutku, it's saying, hey, this is a topic we should think about. Then it's the research that happens in universities. Eventually, maybe it gets into the curriculum or as part of those classes. Again, there are lots of universities all over the world, and as we're just talking to one good professor at one of them, right? So but I'm happy, Anabel, to hear about, especially coming right, being in Europe, about the initiatives, at least by the EU, to kind of try and understand that. So, okay, so just moving away from the kind of ethical dilemma around AI tools, but an important topic. So maybe for what does this all mean for STEM careers, right? That's kind of why we're all here. So I'm going to ask Charley. So what do you think? So how do you think the current pace of innovation, so especially in AI, will impact job prospects for you?
I think from my own perspective, I think it's opening a door to so many different possibilities of careers. I think that from like a biomedical engineering perspective, there's so many more doors being opened about integrating AI with medical devices and
Mhm.
innovating these devices and creating new ideas. And I think that before these AI tools were around, or before they were as advanced as they are now, there was kind of a limitation on how much you could integrate into biomedical devices. But I think that seeing now the impact that AI can have on these devices, and we're learning, we have like modules in college that we're learning about how to safely integrate these tools into devices. And I think that that opens a whole other world of possibilities, because people from a bioengineering perspective can go into careers in like tech devices and things like that. Whereas that wouldn't have been the case before, because this wouldn't have been covered at an undergraduate level. So I think that as we're learning and as these AI tools are developing and they're being brought and taught at an undergraduate level, it's opening more doors for students. And I think that that's a really good thing, because it's creating so many more jobs and so many more fields for students.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of thinking about it in the context, right? So like I said, I did mechanical engineering, and there are similar different kind of aspects of mechanical engineering and I'm sure in the 15 years since I was at university, I know they've expanded the class offerings so that I think you nailed it, right? That you have more job prospects, so that when people look at your degree or they see what type of classes that you've done, they go, she did a focus in AI tools in devices, right? And that is not so different than your general biomechanical or biomechanical.
Kind of biomedical with mechanical as well. So
Okay. Right. And so how do you, maybe you end up doing something that's not necessarily bio background, but at least gives you some experience in another area, so that you are even more marketable when you want to go back to maybe the bio sector. So anyway, it's just a very good insight. So Tutku, I know we've talked a little bit about how you might use AI tools in your current role as a data scientist. Do you see kind of your ability to utilize or to help you figure out something for the next step? How do you see that playing into your career path and maybe what you want for the future? Or do you see it playing a role?
Do you mean AI tools help me to shape my career?
Yeah. Do you think that they are, or that they might?
Definitely. As a developer, data science or AI tools developer, how we work and what are expected from us change a lot. For example, in the past, maybe coding skills were more important, but now even be able to communicate with business domain experts is way more important. And also bridging the gap between AI tools and the people who are expert in their field. This is one of the things that are expected. That's why I think it's lowered the bar to enter in these fields for me, because before AI industry was highly dominated by computer engineer background people, but now
Mhm.
as a person who have a good understanding of technical under, general high level knowledge and really train on yourself on these models, you can really become in these positions, which also diversify the profiles in our teams and diversify also the skills that we are expected.
No, the diversifying of skills, right? And so I maybe just add some comments as somebody who's right in industry. You know, I've worked in 4 very different departments slash technologies within Cummins, from going to manufacturing to advanced engineering to customer engineering for turbochargers, engines, and fuel cells. And it's exactly what you've mentioned. It's not that I have a deep technical knowledge of fuel cells. My master's degree is in turbochargers, but by picking up the different skills, right, that I can then turn around and apply to different technologies, different roles, that's enabled me to keep going, push myself in other places where I may have never seen myself, and then kind of evolve as technology also evolves. We still have turbochargers, we still have diesel engines, but we are looking, just with the AI tools, right? We're looking for a different application in the future, and again, how we use energy. So I definitely need to get on my trainings and learnings about how to use the AI tools. Like I said, I don't tend to use them right now. I've used them in extracurriculars, like preparing SWE quizzes, things like that for events. But it's definitely something that I need to not be afraid of and kind of embrace. So, Anabel, I don't know if you have any kind of last comments on how you see this helping your students and their job prospects, or what do you think, even for your own job prospect, right, as a university professor?
Yes, from my point of view, in my case, from my perspective, I had to read, I have to check, I had to use the tools to know how to work with them, and to be on the top of the head of the knowing everything, how it works, and knowing how the technology evolves, and which natural language processing they're using in cases it's possible to know, or which algorithm they use. But on the other side, for the students, in the case of the university, we also include one new degree, that is artificial intelligence engineering degree. And we are including also masters, especially only on artificial intelligence, to help the students to be prepared for the new jobs to come based on these new technologies and new tools that will be coming and will be
Yeah.
evolving.
Okay. Very exciting. So with that note, we've wrapped up the session for the kind of back and forth with the panelists that we had prepared. So I don't think we've received any questions in the chat. But if you do, now would be the time if you have any questions for our speakers. We'll give like a minute. I don't see, he said I'll give a minute here. Because the next, so it would be preferable if you just add the question into the chat, and then I can read the question for everybody and respond. So maybe while we're waiting for some questions to come into the chat, like I said, so we wanted to just do a little live Q&A here, and then what we were planning on doing is going into breakout rooms. We've got some questions that we want to pose to you in the breakout rooms. And so June, I think you've put a question in the chat. So we have a college professor, Anabel, from the United States. And so June is interested in understanding maybe what some of the differences between the US and the EU might be in terms of the, I'm guessing, the adaptation or interest in AI. Do you have any experience working with the United States, Anabel, or is it more just you've been focused on the EU side of things?
I am more focused on the EU side, but if we can stay on the same breakout session, we can exchange ideas, and also June can tell me what's how they are dealing with this situation and how we deal with it, and maybe the tools we use and so on. Yeah.
So I don't know, Colm or Doreen are magic workers in the background. If you have the breakout rooms kind of set up, maybe there's a possibility that Anabel and June can be in the same breakout room. So as we're kind of getting the breakout rooms coordinated, so I just want to thank Charley, Anabel, and Tutku again for the time today and kind of sharing your thoughts and opinions on a subject that's obviously seems to be near and dear to your hearts. We are going to put a link in the chat for a survey about the session. We'd love to get anybody's feedback on what you enjoyed, areas that maybe we can improve. So please do fill in that survey so we can get your feedback and ideas. And so as I mentioned, we're going to do some breakout rooms. It's time for you to share your thoughts, your experiences in these breakout rooms. So feel free to quickly introduce yourself, your name, where you work. And then we've got 2 questions that we'd like you all to talk about if you feel so. Do you think that AI will have a larger impact on the careers of early career professionals? So kind of what we talked about in the last question. And then how do you think AI and other innovations will impact the work that you do? Do you see that having a direct impact on what you do today? So these are informal conversations. They're not being recorded. So you should get a prompt to go to a breakout room. So please click OK. And I believe we'll do that for around 15 minutes, and then we'll come back for our closing.
Thank you, Paris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paris.
Okay, I think we are all coming back from the breakout sessions. I hope that you enjoyed yours as much as we enjoyed ours. If I don't know if anybody wants to share a key takeaway in the chat that they had from their breakout session. I think in ours, I was with Tutku and Leifa. We realized that we are all going to be at the We Local that's happening in Prague at the end of April. So if you see one of us, feel free to come up and say hello. We're more than happy to talk about engineering, AI.
Yeah, we can take these discussions to face-to-face discussions.
Absolutely. So you can still register for the We Local. The link is also in the chat. Please fill in the survey. I know we got some verbal feedback in our breakout room. And again, the next link that I think that will pop up is a little bit more about the Society of Women Engineers. If you're not familiar, if you want to become a friend of SWE, if you're interested in joining the organization, we're trying to have a bigger and larger presence as well here in Europe. I'm really happy that we had some participants from the United States this morning for you, so that's really lovely. And we are trying to do more events here in Europe to try and grow our presence as well. So with that, just thank you very much for your time today. I had a lot of fun moderating, my first moderating experience. So, and I know for some of us, first panel experience. I think everybody did really well, and it's given me a lot to think about. As Leifa said, I need to get on the train of using AI tools and understanding how this affects my job and what I want and how I want to use it in the future. And so, yeah, so thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you soon.